Okay, this is a really cool one, and there's a lot of really good information in this. This is over Alone Together, and it happens at the end of the bridge, the G half diminished C7 to F major, the last 251 of the bridge. And this is from a live recording with Mike Stern. There's a really cool video of it. I'll leave it in the comments. And this has a lot of cool, kind of just different approaches for thinking over certain chords and a cool little reharm over the 5 chord. So over the first chord, this G half diminished, we start with our ring finger on E flat on the 3rd string, and then our pointer finger is going to go to F on the 2nd string, and then pointer finger on D flat and ring finger on B flat. So that's over a G half diminished chord, but if you just looked at that line and just leave out the chord that it's being played over, you'd probably think like B flat minor pentatonic, right? It kind of looks like. So what's going on there is if you look at like a G half diminished chord, some of you might already know this, but if you don't know this, if you look at the upper 3 notes of the G half diminished chord, right, it's actually a B flat minor arpeggio, or not arpeggio, B flat minor voicing, right? So what that means is if you're uncomfortable soloing over half diminished chords, which a lot of people are, it's definitely one of the more awkward chords. And in the future, I'm definitely going to make like a longer, extensive video on how to solo over half diminished chords, because I think, a lot of people are curious about that. But what you can do is so whatever note you're starting on, G half diminished, you can go up and start on the minor 3rd, B flat, and play Dorian. Because, like we were just saying, if we look at the G half diminished chord, B flat minor is part of it, so you can think Dorian. So if you look at the line he's playing, the reason why it kind of has that B flat minor kind of look to it is he's probably thinking, more B flat Dorian as opposed to G Locrian. And then after those first 4 notes, I put my ring finger on E flat, pointer finger on D flat, and I pull off to C. So once again, B flat minor. And when I say minor, I mean Dorian, obviously. Usually when people are talking about minor in jazz, they're always referring to Dorian. Not always, but for the most part, I would say that's probably a safe bet. And then from here's another really cool idea. So this is over the C7 chord. He's anticipating it a little early. He's coming into it like on beat 4 of the previous measure. But pointer finger on middle finger on E, pointer finger on G sharp, and then pinky on B. So, and I'm picking all 3 of those notes, and then from there I pull off from my pinky on the B to my pointer finger on the A sharp. So it's a little weird because you have to shift the pinky to the pointer finger, and then middle finger goes to F sharp. So that is interesting because it's over C7, but if we look at the first 3 notes in relation to C, it's the 3rd, sharp 5, and this is actually the major 7th. So what he's doing there, if you look at the way the line is constructed, I'm willing to bet that he's doing a tritone sub 2-5. So if you don't know what that means, what that means is this. The 5 chord is C7, right, over the key that we're in. And the tritone sub of C7, all you do is you go a tritone away. In this case, it'd be F sharp. You do a dominant chord off of that. That's the tritone sub of C7. So the 2-5 tritone sub, if you want to call it that, it's just the tritone sub, but instead of just playing the dominant chord, you also play the 2 chord. So if you think of this as like, if you were doing a 2-5-1, right, what would the 2 chord be before this? It'd be C sharp minor, right? So instead of just going G half diminished, C7, F major, we're going. Right, you can sneak that in there. That's a cool thing for soloing, and that's probably what he's doing, because if you look at the line, it pretty much lines up exactly with that, right? Because if we look at this in relation to C sharp minor to F sharp 7, right, the notes line up perfectly. And then he ends with the pointer finger on G sharp, middle finger on E, my pinky on C sharp, and then from there I do my middle finger on B and I just slide it up to the C. And then that resolves to our F major chord, so it ends on the 5 of the F major. So the whole line. Okay, so two different ideas that you can play around with that we talked about in this line. When you're playing over a half diminished chord, you can go start a minor third above and play Dorian. Right, those sounds work. And then over our C7 chord, you can go up a half step and do a 2-5, right? That's if you just go up a half step and play a 2-5 shape, that's the 2-5 with a tritone sub. So. All those sounds can work over C7. It's a chord substitution, so it's going to sound a little different than your typical C7, but that's what makes it cool. So once again.